Hey guys, so today we're going to install a new CarPlay system in my car. I have one right now. It actually works well. It has a really nice big screen, but the one thing I don't like about it is that there are no buttons here. There's only these digital buttons that I have to scroll up to access those buttons. You know, it'll kind of light up. I want actual buttons on my screen so I could, turn up the volume really quick without having to scroll through a menu. So we're going to update that today, and I'm actually going to show you the full install. And I'll show you some old videos of how I installed the backup camera, and I did some of the initial wiring. So let's update the stereo, and we'll walk you through the whole process. All right, so let's take a look at what's in the box. They sell these on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description for you. Okay, this is the backup camera. So you would mount it underneath by your license plate, kind of like this. And this long cable control, you connect this to your reverse light. Here's the power for it. Connect that here. All right, so here's all the assorted cables. All right, there's a GPS antenna. So there's also GPS on the unit. RCA inputs and outputs. So, if you want to use an amplifier or something like that, you would use these RCAs. There's a mic input, amp controller, but we're going to use the car speakers. I'm not going to use any of that. It looks like a USB port. So if you want to make it real easy, I guess you could just connect the power and ground and just plug it into your cigarette lighter too. That's an option if you don't want to do hard wiring. I will be hard wiring it to the car system so that, when you turn on the car, it powers on. Okay, so here is some other lines: illumination, antenna, key 1, key 2, back. I assume back means backup camera. This is the backup camera input. Another USB. Manual. Okay, so here I see. Also, looks like if you want to plug it into your home too, you don't even have to use a car. If you want to use this CarPlay unit for whatever reason in your house, music or whatever, you could just plug it into the wall and connect this to your stereo. It's an interesting option. All right, good mounting plates. All right. Here's the unit itself. I think it looks pretty good. It's nice and big, and what I like is that there are buttons. Well, I mean, it's an electronic button, but there's a button on the screen. My old one doesn't have that. You'd have to do something like this to get the volume and things like that, but there's the home button, the backwards, and the volume on this screen itself. And there's a screen protector on it. I'm going to leave the protector on there. So you can see it's shinier than it looks. But I'm going to leave the protector on until I install it. All right, looks pretty easy. You just plug in the lines and you're good to go. All right, let's give it a shot. First, we're going to have to remove the old stereo, and I already have the new stereo in, but for that, we're going to look at some old footage of how I pulled out the old stereo. Okay, so first what you want to do is you want to pull from the bottom out, okay? So if you get that pry tool, you should be able to use this leverage and pop it out. And from there, you pop it out right there. All right, that's easy. Put that aside, and what's here, let's take a look at what's here. So there should be 4 screws, but whoever installed this only put in 2. So we're going to take out these bolts with a Phillips screwdriver. All right, when you're taking out these screws, just make sure you don't drop it, because that's probably why there's only 2. So kind of hang on to it from the side and pull it out. the person who installed this probably dropped it in here somewhere. So what I do is I like to grab it for the final turns and then pull it out, holding it with my finger like that. Okay, so now we should be able to just take it out. All right, see, that was easy. All right, so now that the stereo's all out, here's the old wiring and things like that. But remember, I'll leave a link to the wiring harness that you'll need, one of these adapters to get all the speaker wires and stuff out for you. So what I need to do is to remove the old connections that's all labeled up and things like that, and I'm going to connect it to the new ones. Okay, and for that, just look at the wiring diagrams for the speakers and the power lines, and the colors are pretty standard. It's going to be the same as the colors on my old ones. You could see, there's the yellow line, the orange line, the brown, and things like that. It's all pretty standard, but refer to this for the actual connections. I didn't think I would need all the RCAs, but actually I remembered I do need one, and that's the subwoofer output, because my car does have a subwoofer box right there. So I'll need the subwoofer output and the amplifier control, because I do have an amplifier too. Okay, but I'm not going to use any of these other things. Okay, so first you'll have to look at your Honda Element to get the subwoofer wiring if you have it. But see, I do have the subwoofer tapped right there. It's not the most elegant solution, but I have it tapped and connected to an RCA output. Yeah, I know people are probably freaking out right now, but honestly, I don't care that much. It's okay. So now I'm going to disconnect these one by one, and then connect the new line. This is from my old port, and this will be the new port. Okay, so for instance, we'll start with the ground. It's this black line right here. I'm going to remove the old one. And I'm using just wire nuts, and that makes it really easy for me to remove old wires like I'm doing right now. I'm not using any butt connectors or any soldering. Okay, so here's the ground line, and we're going to take the new ground line, and you can see it's already been semi-stripped for you. They already cut it. So I'm going to pull that out, expose that wire. I'm going to connect the ground. Okay, so for these wire nuts, I like using them because they're really easy and they're easy to remove. Just put the two wires together. You don't even have to twist it yet. The wire nut will do all the twisting you need. So you just twist it until the line's twisted a little bit too, and then you know you're good. There, we have one connection. So let's do that for all the speakers and all the power connections. All right, so I got all the wires in, and you can see the colors are all universal. The grays go with the grays, gray with black stripe, green, solid green, green with black stripe, red, yellow. So all of that was pretty universal. All the colors matched, so that's good. Okay, so next up, what I want to do is I want to connect the backup camera, and I already connected the backup camera to this car, but I'll show you the video of how I connected that backup camera. Okay, so for the backup camera, I have this camera, and they give you this mount or this tape and some screws. So I think, oops, got it backwards. I think it'll fit great just right there, and I'll be able to put the adhesives, and I'll put in the screws, and that holds it in place. And now I'm gonna use the screws that they gave us to put it in. All right, that should be in really nice and tight. So now I'm gonna need to screw these screws right here to tighten it up so it doesn't, wiggle around. And then we'll route this line back. Of course, I'm just guessing at what the perfect angle is. I'll be able to adjust that later if I want. Okay, so now I'm going to need to remove this panel so that I could do the routing in the back, and you're just going to have to take a leap of faith. Sometimes it takes a little bit of nerves to pull these pegs, but there are plastic pegs underneath that hold it all in, and you gotta pop it out. And yes, you might break one. This last part right here might be the difficult part. You have to separate it from these things right here along that. But once you see what it looks like, you know, you could tell how to slide it in. And from there, you can see access is very easy. You will just go from underneath. Okay, so here is where the wire goes to the outside. It goes to this rubber gasket. So we're going to pull out that rubber gasket and we're going to route the line through. You can see it looks like it's rubber lined all the way. So it'll be tough for you to get, you know, your line through the existing one, but we can make a line, a hole. Okay, so if you don't have any kind of metal fishing line, you just use a coat hanger. Okay, so what I did is I fished it in from this side. Okay. So once the line is fished through, you can get to the other side pretty easily. All right, nothing fancy. I'm just going to use a little bit of masking tape. Get this in there. Fish it through again. Okay. Take out the hanger and you got your line fed through nice and easy. So from this top side, I could either poke a hole through that gasket and route it through, but you know what? I'm just gonna run it around the outside. So it looks like this. Hope there's enough light for you to see. It's just going around the edge and right here, okay? I've never had issues with water over here, so I don't think that's a problem at all. All right, next up is getting this guy into there. So what we want to do is we want to route it through the back, through this tube right here. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take out this rubber thing right there. Take it out on this side too. Right there. Let's take a closer look. It's just these guys right here. What we're going to do is going to weave the line through there, through this guy, through that tube. There's a slot that you just stick your hand in and it accesses the hole pretty easily. So here the line is through. Just weave it through. Connect it to this guy. Okay, got that plugged in. So let's put these guys back. All right, so I have line coming out of here and going in the back side right there. Okay, I'm gonna put some ties to hold this thing in. Just the twist ties that came with the packaging. Okay, looks good. Let's get the cover back on. All right, get them all in. So now we have the wires inside the car for us to access the reverse light to control it. All right, next up we need to access the reverse light. Just pull this out. Here you go. You have access to the wires right here. Okay, so I'm going to use this this quick tap connector, and what we're going to do is use the small one. The red one is the smaller one, and what it does is just, you can see it just taps into the wire and gives you an extra wire. Alright, so it's this guy's the one we want. This is the reverse light, so let's see what color that is. This is green and black. So it's gonna go in there. So this is on the cover. It's gonna go in there. We're gonna access the wire from the inside, so I don't have to go through any of this. So now that we know what it is, it's this green and black. Let's put everything back. All right, so many years ago when I had my first Element, I did a video on how to remove this side panel. So you could click the link up there to see how to remove this. It's not that bad. It looks bad, but it's not that bad. So remove this panel. You can click that link. All right, so I just need to pry open a little bit. I don't need to take it all off, but you do have to pry it open. So now that we're here, so here's the pin that I unplugged it to the light bulbs, and you can see the colors. And the green black is this one. It's the second from the right. So that I could either tap from this side right here, or I could tap on this side of the plug. So we'll see what's easier for me, and we'll do that. All right, it was too hard for me to get in here and film at the same time, but I found it was easier to get to the back one. The wire is a little bit thicker too. It's a little more robust than the wire on this side. This side's a little bit thinner. So here is my reverse light signal. All right, now going back to that video line with the controller for the backup camera. So these are the two wires you need, and this red one will go to that backup light that I just did, that I tapped into the positive, and this black is ground. So you want to find a solid metal connection. Yeah, the nice thing about the Element is that there's already one right here, so I'm going to just unscrew that and then tap my black line into that. So I tapped into the ground right there, and I connected the power to this side right here. So now I'm going to clean up this wiring, and then I'm going to route the video line and the control line to the front. All right, zip tie them to make them nice and neat. Comes back here, ties up there, goes in there. So now I'm going to take that, route it all the way to the front, put back all this stuff right here. All right, so for the video line, I'm going to route it under here. And that's, of course, before I put the panel back, I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to stuff it underneath this line right here. So I'm just going to route underneath, tuck it away nice and neat, and then come out on this side, okay? So now I'm going to put these things back. All right, nice and neat, can't see a thing. All right, so now that this wire is through here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tuck it underneath, wrap it around, route it underneath here, and then I can get to there, which will allow me to pull the wire up there, okay? So it's too tight for me to show you that, but that's what I'm going to do, route it underneath and come out up there. Trying to do this with one hand and hold the camera with the other because the tripod won't fit down here, but you get the picture. Just shove it underneath. All right, so I got the coat hanger down so that I can fish that line up. So let's fish it up. All right, nice and easy. So now I can finish installation. All right, so now you saw the video. Here's the backup camera video. and here's the control signal. This is connected to the reverse backup light, and that reverse backup light is going to go to this pink line right here, and we'll connect that. Okay, all the pre-wiring is done, and I got my ports. So now we can hook up the head unit. All right, so before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's plug everything in and make sure everything works before I mount it up, because there will be some customization to get this thing to mount onto this car. The brackets are not really friendly, and plus the hole, the din opening is smaller than the width of the unit itself, so it's going to be a little tricky, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So we're just going to plug in the pins. I'm not going to plug in the antenna or anything right now. I will do the backup camera just to test that out also. Okay. And the last thing we need to hook up is the backup video. And all these pins are all different sizes, so you really can't plug into the wrong one. Okay, plug in that video for the backup camera so we can test that out. We'll just kind of let it dangle for right now. All right, it's powered up. See if it's working. That's a good sign that we got power. So the first time booting is always going to be a little bit longer. All right, looks good. All right, so I actually had to reconnect the camera it came with, because I guess it's not compatible with my old camera, but now the backup camera works. That's pointed at the ground right now. All right, so let's hook everything back up. All right, so now that we've proved everything works, we gotta mount it back up. So now this is the challenge. You look at the inside, if I put on the mounting, if I put this in with the mount, there's no way for me to screw it in. So what I need to do, my plan that is to mount it to this back piece right here. And then when I click that in, it'll click in nice and clean. Not sure if that makes sense, but I'll show you what I mean. Put it on the right side. If I put this in and I mount it to the stereo, once I put it in, there's no way for me to screw it into the holes. So my idea is to use this right here, mount it onto this plate right here, and then I could just click it into place. All right, so what I did is I drilled some holes into the side. That's going to allow me to get to these screw holes right there, and then we'll mount it up. All right, so I got those screws in, screwed it in. It's gonna should hold fine. Let's put it in. All right, let's hook everything back up. I'm not gonna hook up the USB ports because I'm not gonna use any kind of external storage or anything like that, so I'm not gonna need it. For the GPS antenna, I'm just gonna leave it in the back. I'm not gonna mount it up. I really doubt I'll use it, but it's not like it won't work. It will work. The last thing is the car radio antenna. That I always do last because it's always the shortest cable for whatever reason. Okay, in. So let's see how well my plan works. All right, works really well. Look at that. That fitment looks perfect. Nice and tight. Everything looks good. All right. Let's turn it on. Make sure everything's still working. All right. Looks good. Home screen. So here you got your different apps. So it's kind of like an Android pad that you have right here. Here's your car info. You got YouTube, so you could watch YouTube, browse, but you need internet connection, of course, for all that. All right, so let's sync up my CarPlay, and then we'll test it out. All right, the CarPlay synced up just fine. You got your CarPlay apps, Pandora, WhatsApp, messages, and of course you have the map. Good. So if you want to go back to your old screen, you go to car and it goes back to this Android screen. You could go through your different apps that you have open right here. So it's just like an Android pad. And I got my buttons over here, which I really wanted. Google Maps. All right. Looks good. And if you want to go back to CarPlay, you go right there. That'll get you back to your CarPlay screen. And of course there's Android Auto also, which I don't have an Android, but it's there if you need it. Okay, YouTube. I don't have any internet connection right now, but looks like everything's working well. But for me, for the most part, I'm just going to be using CarPlay. All right, looks good. Backup camera's working good. All right, we're all set. All right, I can't leave the audio on for too long because I'll get a copyright infringement, but you can see it's working good.